February 2004. A 19-year-old at Harvard and his friend each put $1,000 into a website. One of them writes the code. The other one is the money guy, chief financial officer, by their own agreement, 30% of the company. 8 years later, that website goes public, and that second guy is worth about $2 billion. And I know what some of you just thought. That's not how the story goes. That's because you saw the movie. So let's start right there, because the most famous number in this whole thing is wrong. The one where Eduardo Saverin gets cut down to 0.03%, that number does not appear in a single document. It came out of a book. And the man who wrote that book had one main source sitting across from him, Eduardo Saverin. The real number out of the paperwork is under 10%. Still ugly, still a story, just not that one. And here's the part almost nobody tells you. Two men put early money into Facebook when Facebook was nothing. Both of them ended up holding paper that didn't do what they expected. One got told the documents he signed were binding, and that was that. The other got handed 2 million shares years later because the board decided his paperwork, quote, did not reflect the intent of the parties. One of those men was the co-founder. I'll tell you who the other one was before we're done. April 2004, Florida LLC. Zuckerberg 65%, Saverin 30%, Dustin Moskovitz 5%. Saverin goes to New York to sell advertising, and I want to be fair to him because this part gets erased. He did the work. There's a media kit from April 2004 that a marketer kept and handed a reporter years later. Saverin pitched it in person, asking $80,000. That's a 22-year-old doing a real job. July, they reincorporate in Delaware. New company buys the old one. September, Peter Thiel puts in $500,000. Saverin goes from 30% to 24%, and that is normal. That's what raising money does. Everybody's slice gets thinner, the pie gets bigger. Nobody's a villain yet. October 31st, Saverin signs a shareholder agreement, 3 million shares, and in that same agreement, he signs over his voting rights to Mark Zuckerberg, who becomes the only director. Circle that date. That's the ball game. January 7th, 2005. The company issues 9 million new shares, 3.3 million to Zuckerberg, 2 million to Sean Parker, 2 million to Moskovitz, 0 to Saverin, 24% down to under 10. Now, before any of that happened, Zuckerberg emailed the company's lawyer. Business Insider obtained that email and published it. Facebook has never disputed it. They've also never confirmed it, and I'm going to stay straight with you about that. It says, is there a way to do this without making it painfully apparent to him that he's being diluted to 10%? And the lawyer writes back and warns him, says because Eduardo is the only shareholder being diluted, there's substantial risk he may claim it's a breach of fiduciary duty. So nobody wandered into this by accident. It was papered, it was lawyered, and somebody in that room said out loud, this could blow up. Same reporting, an instant message that tells you the real motive. Until I do this, I need to run everything by Eduardo. After this, I have control. Not money, control. And here's the part that got me. 7 weeks after that dilution, the Harvard Crimson runs a long feature on Facebook. Saverin is in it. He's quoted, and he is talking like a man who still owns a third of a company. He says, whether I go to a job, don't go to a job, I'm always going to be involved. I'm still trying to understand how this will all work. He didn't know. He sat down for an interview about the company he helped start, and it had already happened to him. Same article. Zuckerberg, 19, gets asked about moving equity around. On the record, he says, if you're going to be a good businessman, really what it's about is finding situations where people win. It's not about tricking people into doing stuff. It's not about being a hard ass. 7 weeks. All right, now I'm going to argue the other side, because that's what we do here. And this side is stronger than the movie let you see. April 2005, Facebook and Zuckerberg sue Saverin. And I have to be precise because nearly everybody gets this backwards. Facebook sued first over the agreement Saverin signed that October. Saverin cross-claimed a year later. In that filing, Facebook alleged things, allegations, not findings. They alleged that in June 2004, Saverin opened the company's bank account and made himself the only person who could sign on it, and that on July 28th, he froze it and wouldn't release the money unless he got more control. They allege Zuckerberg then had to put in $85,000 of his own money the filing says was set aside for his tuition. And that frozen account is not a movie invention. People love to debunk it. It's in the pleading, and a reporter who wasn't part of the lawsuit reported it on his own. They also alleged he later launched a competing job site and ran ads for it on Facebook without permission. Zuckerberg wrote him about that directly. You basically made something on the side that will end up competing with Facebook. But putting ads up on Facebook to advertise it, especially for free, is just mean. Honest caveat, that site launched in February 2005. The dilution was January 7th. So whatever that fight was, it didn't cause the thing that already happened. And Peter Thiel, who sat on that board, said it flat. His job was to sell advertisements for Facebook, and he was not remotely doing that job. Then Thiel walked it back the same day, told a reporter, "I don't have a strong opinion on his work performance. I didn't mean it to be a hit on him." Same man, same day. You take both or you take neither. So who was right? Nobody knows. And I mean that literally. No judge ever decided a single thing here. August 2008, both sides jointly asked for it to be dismissed with prejudice. The terms were sealed, everybody went home. 5 months later, Facebook quietly put Saverin back on its own website as a co-founder, after denying on the record in 2007 that he was one. Those October agreements have never been made public, so the only question that actually matters, what Eduardo Saverin understood he was signing, is a question nobody outside that room can answer. Not me, not you, definitely not the movie. What we do know comes from Saverin himself. The day before the IPO, he files a Form 3 with the SEC, 53,133,360 shares. At the $38 IPO price, that's just over $2 billion, 2.49% of the company, not 0.03. He renounced his U.S. citizenship 8 months before that IPO, which got 4 senators to introduce a bill to punish him. It never became law. He's worth about $30 billion today. Okay, the other man. Buried in Facebook's IPO paperwork, in the related parties section almost nobody reads, there's a paragraph. In 2004 and 2005, somebody else put working capital into Facebook. For that, he got an option on 2 million shares. And that option expired. Nobody exercised it in time. The paper failed. December 2009, the board looked at it and decided that option did not reflect the intent of the parties about what he was supposed to get. So they issued him the 2 million shares anyway, and the consideration included a release of potential claims. That was Edward Zuckerberg, Mark's father. 2 early funders, 2 pieces of paper that didn't work the way anybody planned. One man was told the documents are the documents. The other was told the documents didn't reflect what everybody really meant. Here's your stock. Eduardo Saverin's name appears 0 times in that entire filing. So here's what I want you to take out of this, and it's got nothing to do with Harvard. What you own is not what you agreed to at the kitchen table. What you own is whatever the document says on the day somebody decides to read it carefully. Dilution isn't theft, it's arithmetic. And it's arithmetic you agreed to in advance, usually in a paragraph you skipped because the guy across the table was your friend. Go into business with people you like, but write it down, have somebody outside the friendship read it, and know what happens to your piece when new money walks in. Not because your partner is a crook, because paper outlives goodwill. So which one is it? Was Eduardo Saverin robbed by a 19-year-old who wanted control and knew exactly what he was doing? Or did he get carried by a company he stopped showing up for and walk away with $2 billion off a $1,000 bet? Eileen. I think a man who signs away his voting rights in October and finds out in April was owed a phone call. But I'll be honest, if somebody froze my company's account to force my hand, I don't know that I'd have handled it clean either. That's the thing about this series. Some weeks the graveyard is full of people who got robbed. Some weeks it's full of people who signed. And most of the time, you can't tell which one you're looking at until somebody unseals the paperwork. Next time, we're back in the dark. A company everybody trusted, books that got audited every single year, and a number at the bottom that was never real.